Everyone has that one game that feels like it was specifically made for them, and this game was that for me. Having what essentially boils down to a murder mystery at an abandoned, snowed-in, definitely haunted hotel is my bread and butter. Hidden passages, atmosphere of the hoo-ha, and spooky family lore that goes deeper than my love for The Shining. But let me ask you this. Can one thing in a game overshadow and completely ruin every other positive thing about it? Yes it can. And that game is The Suicide of Rachel Foster. I've been on a bit of a walking simulator kick recently, and I bought this game strictly based off the description. I avoided any reviews for fear of spoilers, and that was a decision that I've come to regret. I have never been more frustrated with a video game story. Before I go any further, let this be a major spoiler warning. I also want to give a friendly trigger warning that this video game deals with suicide and child grooming. I am totally cool if you want to sit this one out, and I appreciate you regardless. The game opens with a letter written by your character, Nicole's mother. It is essentially a deathbed confession that provides enough exposition to explain the bulk of the game. Between pages, a funeral scene is cut in that offers a pretty cool bird's eye view as you walk to your mother's rain-covered casket. With one small movement, the way the other funeral goers move out of the way for you shows the close personal connection that you had with the dead. You can almost see each person look at the ground, afraid of making eye contact with you as they move out of your way. I thought it was a really smart, subtle tick that said more than any, dialogue could. The letter goes on to elaborate on an affair that your father had with a young woman who eventually took her life. The suicide tore the family apart, and she apologizes for putting you through a life of pain. She tells you that the only way to avoid living the same shame-filled life as her was to repent the family name and sell the newly inherited family hotel that now sits abandoned after your father's death, and donate a portion of the proceeds to the dead girl's family, which I think is kind of a sad apology for a lifetime of mourning. On the last page of the letter, you can see visible tears that smudged a portion of the pen ink. I thought it was another neat little detail to create character depth through the letter itself. The intro scene eventually ends with a beautifully framed overhead shot of the lowering casket. Being an independent game and having the budget of an independent game, I think the simplicity of having the game story explained through the letter was kinda genius. Sometimes flashy isn't always better, you know? In another impressive feat of exposition, the game reveals a car driving up a snow-covered mountain in a near-identical homage to The Shining. A voice on the radio talks about the obvious snowstorm and to avoid doing exactly what we're doing. Of course, it isn't anything original, but as a sucker for creepy, snowed-in, single-location thrillers, I was hooked. A large sign reveals Timberville, and that's the introduction to the game. Short, simple, and sweet.
The smell. It's all I remember from the night we departed 10 years ago.
You finally take control of your character in the hotel's crappy old garage. She hasn't been to the hotel in 10 years, and it smells like shit. The violently crashing garage behind me was another neat little way to offer real-time weather mechanics on a budget. Once you walk through the hotel a bit, you eventually hear a phone that conveniently stops ringing as you're only a few feet away from it. The answering machine beeps, and you listen to 3 messages. The first is a spooky, ambiguous 911 phone call with no one on the line.
911 emergency. How can I help you? What's your emergency? Hello? Can you hear me? What's your
The second is a message from the phone company letting your father know that they're cutting his service off because he's a broke-ass bitch.
Mr. McGrath, hi, it's Paulie from Century Telephone Company. I'm sorry to bother you, but as I told you last time, the company requires cutting off the telephone service to delinquent customers.
And the last message is from your family's faithful attorney, Mr. Jenkins. He kindly lets you know that you're now legally responsible to assess and sell the hotel. A classic potato head.
We should have hired a decent attorney from Portland, Mom, not this potato head.
Your next stop is Nicole's childhood bedroom, and this trip offers the first real look at the inside of the hotel. The gorgeous mezzanine lookout, the intimate hallways, and the empty, cozy atmosphere. The developers did an excellent job in aging the hotel, but still capturing its once-held beauty. The walls have mold and everything is discolored, but the beautiful hanging chandeliers and open concept really sell that this place was probably a rare gem at one point. Once you reach your father's apartment, you discover his piss-covered toilet, and there's shit everywhere. Seeing the condition of the room offers a look into his scattered mind. Sketches, maps, and posters line the room, while books cover about a third of the floor space. They're a fair mix of confusing astrology, cult, and airbender type shit, which I initially assumed meant he was into some no-good bad guy experiments, but it turned out much, much worse. When entering Nicole's childhood bedroom, the color change hit me like a neon paint can to the face. It made me realize just how muted the colors of the rest of the hotel had been thus far. The room is a pretty standard 90s kids room, nothing really stands out, until a strange, very loud telephone rings that nearly made me shit my pants.
What is this, a joke? Hello?
Can you hear me? Is this Miss McGrath?
Wilson. McGrath was my
One of the most common narrative tools currently in walking simulators is having the story pushed ahead by someone on the other end of a phone or radio. In this case, Nicole carries around this brick of a 90s portable phone for the entire duration of the game. Her back has got to be killing her.
I guess so.
On the other end of the phone is Irving Crawford, an agent from Federal whatchamacallit.
Call Irving from Federal whatchamacallit?
He's here on behalf of your family lawyer to assist you with your stay. Nicole lets him know that she's leaving as soon as possible, but you and I both know that ain't happening. The first real jump scare, aside from the telephone that I don't think was meant to be a jump scare, happens after you leave the apartment for the first time. A loud crashing noise is heard echoing from somewhere within the hotel.
Like that.
The audio mix is seriously immersive, and it got me really good. This is also the first point in the game that implies there might actually be someone else in this hotel with you. Or maybe it was just the wind. You quickly learn that, yes, it was just the wind. You let Irving know the place is collapsing, and he lets you know that if you leave the hotel, you will die. His need to keep Nicole there isn't subtle, but it doesn't really faze her, and she decides to allow the attorney to take care of it. Fuck it, right? She can survive the snowstorm, and this little bitch Irving doesn't know what he's talking about. If only she kept her car keys in her pocket like every other person in the world, and not left them on her car seat like an idiot.
Tell me you changed your mind.
You there?
Huh? Oh, yeah, right. It's a direct line.
I can't find my car keys. My fucking car keys. I left them on the seat.
You sure?
Think so. Maybe someone...
No. Listen, I bypassed...
Irving reassures Nicole that her keys will pop up somewhere, and he reveals his kinda sorta creepy intentions for the first time.
This place. I vowed to never come back.
Listen, I might only be a voice, but remember I'm here for you. If you need me, just call. Seriously.
Ugh. Fine.
To the surprise of no one, the garage door is frozen shut, and Irving knows about your entire family history for some reason.
I know your story. Everyone in the valley knows it.
He's nice enough to give you a whole 15 seconds before calling you back to reassure you that spending the night might be kind of fun. Boundaries, am I right?
Hey, found anything useful?
No. No keys. No garage door. I can't get out of here without freezing. Christ.
It's probably only for a night.
After a sick, completely out of place bass solo, you sleep the night off. The next morning, Irving reveals that he stayed up all night in case you needed something, like the simp loser that he is.
Is the situation on the roads any better?
Just, give me a sec to get it together. Maybe I need some coffee. I didn't get any shut-eye last night, and...
Wait. You didn't sleep? Like, at all?
I thought you might need something, and...
But... You didn't go home? Because of me?
He tells you to check the freezer for food, and you are once again reminded that there might be someone else in the hotel. If you've ever cried in a walk-in freezer, you know that freezing inside of one of those things is a totally valid fear. Luckily for Nicole, the door magically opens and her sphincter slowly loosens. The phone rings immediately after you exit the freezer, and it's good guy Irving, here to warn you about the broken freezer door that apparently slams on its own after sitting open for a minute.
What did I say?
It would have been more useful to know that before I got locked in.
Oh, holy shit, I'm a freaking space cadet.
Yeah, I could have died in there.
Must be the breeze. Apparently fear breeds hunger, so Nicole feasts on some good food. I was about an hour in at this point and was beginning to wonder where this cheap ghost story was going. Nicole is now taking inventory of the hotel and discovers an entire wing that is chained off due to never finished renovations. Your father's creepy attic just happens to be at the end of the closed wing, but hey, no, don't worry about that, right? While the reveal of the off-bounds area piqued my curiosity, it didn't do anything to elevate the game beyond having just another mid-tier story with an awesome setting. So it was a pleasant surprise when this happened.
Yeah. Hello? Who is this? Who the hell are you?
Rachel is still there. Don't sell the hotel.
Is this a joke? Who is this?
Don't do anything stupid.
What, you think you can call my house and threaten me? Come tell me to my face, asshole!
So from here on out, I'm going to be referring to the game as the not suicide of Rachel Foster, I guess? JK. I've got to admit, I didn't actually see the twist coming. Looking back now, I don't know how I didn't, but it was a pleasant surprise. Right as my food was getting cold, that creepy phone call nuked it back to life. While sorting the furnace out, you tell the story of the farting ghost to Irving, and you both share a laugh.
Old farting ghost, you rank spirit! Wake up!
Huh?
Nothing, just talking to an old friend.
Nicole and Irving have a few more conversations that do slowly build a bit of a relationship, but I could honestly do without. Nicole talks a bit about her childhood, and Irving continues to be a yes man and slightly too friendly.
Yeah, well, thank you for, listening and not freezing to death in your car.
So I owe you my life then. Wow.
It's just...
Your job. I know. Night.
Night.
The game continues its upward trajectory and forces you into a really cool sequence where you have to illuminate a pitch black hallway with a Polaroid camera. The tension initially is thick, but it builds up for nothing because you quickly find a flashlight. It's also kind of weird that only the one hall is pitch black. If you leave the hall, the lights come back, and if you go back to the dark hall, it's dark again. I don't know, it was weird. This is also where you find your first crawl space that you absolutely didn't see before, hidden in the walls. While walking between the walls, the power to the hotel goes out, but alas, Irving talks Nicole down with his quick wit, and she finds her way out through a wall grate that ominously glows red. That's not creepy at all. It leads to a small power room, and on a nearby table, Nicole finds a lipstick. She gets Irving's ass on the phone and asks how long the place has been closed, and he tells her for 4 years. The lipstick is the same brand Rachel and Nicole used to use as kids, and it doesn't exist anymore. And the weirdest part is that it's still fresh. What is happening? Rachel is still here? Oh my god! Day 4 was a bit of a mess. This whole chapter feels rushed, like they needed to quickly push the story along but didn't have time to write something actually playable. It opens with Nicole standing at her wall of clues. She calls Irving to talk about each individual clue, but hangs up the call between each clue. So they end up taking like 5 or 6 separate phone calls instead of one. I was stuck standing there talking and waiting and then clicking the next clue and repeating that again and again and again. From a gameplay standpoint, it felt super awkward and it slowed the steady upward momentum the game was on. I understand having a story-heavy game requires a lot of dialogue, but there was more dialogue than gameplay, and having to stand and wait was pretty tedious. I am a fan of audiobooks, and in a lot of ways walking simulators can be very similar to them, so I don't mind the heavy dialogue, but it does slow things down when you can't play the game along with listening to the dialogue. Nicole brings up Reverend Foster, who is Rachel's father. She thinks maybe he had something to do with it, but that goes absolutely nowhere. It is also mentioned that Rachel had a speech impediment, that she was 9 weeks pregnant, and that the suicide note might be fake, again implying that Rachel is very much alive. It's like a freaking roller coaster over here of evidence, you know what I'm saying? The day ends and we awake in a dream as young Nicole. Her father seems to have become a glowing red being and goes on about some celestial mumbo jumbo.
Hey, cutie pie. How are you?
Daddy? Daddy, is that you?
I'm no genius, but it all sounds like a crock of shit.
You came back in the end. It's like the inescapability of a celestial body's revolution. We can't help but follow certain stars' brightness, even if those stars have died millions of years ago.
Young Nicole keeps trying to talk to him, and he just continues to ignore her until...
I can't see you. Where are you? Where are you?
You know how much I love you.
I know, Daddy. I've always known it. I love you too. Say it again, please.
I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Rachel, 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 Rachel.
The following day, Irving plays us a tape that he found in the main office of the hotel, I guess. It's of ghost hunters that apparently were investigating the hotel. He plays the tape, and I'm warning you, it's kind of...
But I'm warning you, it's kind of... Well, listen for yourself.
Okay, the lights look good. How about the headphones?
Don't know, there's like a buzzing noise. Listen.
Yeah, true. Well, the German ones are better.
We are about to enter a nightmare hotel. A place full of deceit and secrecy where terrible lies were played out. Nah, I don't like that. I'll do it again later. Oh, the room with the fireplace isn't bad.
Okay.
Spare me the kitchen. I wouldn't know what the hell to say.
Fireplace okay? Kitchen no. Stan, where'd you leave all the gear? Room 1. I stuck a piece of tape on the door. I didn't get that. What room? I got a buzz in the headset. Damn microphones. 117.
Danny, what's that stuff in camera? It's giving off a glare and burns out the frame. I told you no tricks.
What tricks? I didn't use anything.
Stop fucking around, Danny.
I told you I didn't rig anything. I saw it too. It's a mirror, isn't it?
Huh?
It looked like the reflection on a mirror.
What'd you smoke this morning?
What the fuck are you two up to? Cut the crap. You freaking me. Holy shit. There it is. There it is.
Where?
I saw it. It's just up there. It's like a light, like a door that opens. I swear.
Dad, stop touching me or you'll give me a heart attack.
What are you talking about? I'm like over here.
Fuck, I felt someone touch me. Are you kidding?
That's it?
Yep, the tape's damaged. Too damp.
Well, I'd say fucking typical.
How ladylike.
Yeah, not great. Room 117 is locked from the outside, so the game makes you backtrack to the room that you found the lipstick in to grab a screwdriver. Why they didn't allow you to pick up the screwdriver as well as the lipstick when we were already there a few minutes ago is unknown to me, but I guess it adds a few minutes to the playtime. Nicole unlocks the room and discovers the ghost hunter's abandoned gear. She finds a small TV with a VHS player and a quick sort of cutscene plays.
Have you calmed down yet?
Quit playing dumbass jokes. What does that guy do all day?
Who, you mean the owner? Leonard the freak?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. He's always locked up in the attic. You can hear him pacing up and down.
Well, better for us. We've got the whole hotel to do whatever we want.
Shut up a sec. There's that noise again in the headphones. Sounds like someone was talking to themselves. I see you smoking the good stuff. Is that right?
Jerk off. Did you see his face? He's missing a couple screws.
Sounds like a woman's voice. A girl. What the? I'll bet living alone in a place like this all winter, you can't help but go nuts.
So depressing.
Danny, did you get rid of the interference? Fuck, I paid you to do your job, not jerk around. Fuck off, Stan. What do you think I'm doing? It's a mess here. Nothing's working. There's voices. Listen, Danny, cut the crap. I'm gonna go have a cig, and if you don't figure it out by the time I'm done... What the fuck are you doing?
I saw something!
What? You're not taping.
No, I mean, for real!
What? What the?
Someone's here, I'm telling you! Oh.
What do you guys say? It looks more like a... Oh my...
Oh my God! It moves! Oh God!
Yeah, I'm telling you! I can't find the keys!
Oh, God, this place is
Where?
broken!
Keys! Hold on!
There it is!
The light!
I feel like the cutscene was a neat idea and had potential to raise the stakes, but in reality, you're just looking at the bottom half of three people screaming at something off camera, and then they run away. There's not a big reveal, and there's no real payoff, so it doesn't really add anything. This storyline dies right here, and the ghost hunters are not brought up again. Seems like a bit of a waste, but what do I know? I guess they left and Nicole's father locked the room for some reason, instead of just throwing all their shit out. I'm glad he didn't though, because in this room you find a microphone that is my favorite item in the game. It's round, and it's shiny, and I love it. And to no one's surprise, Irving scares you like an asshole.
Hey!
For fuck's sake, Irving!
Oh, what did I do?
He gave me a heart attack.
Sorry, I'll warn you with a carrier pigeon next time.
What?
I'm just curious to know what you found in that room.
Well, you should be. You're never gonna believe it.
A new day starts, and there is now a Christmas tree up, and the boxes that were previously blocking the weird empty room in the apartment are now moved. Nicole discovers another secret entrance that was totally hidden before. It's a not so subtle way of moving the game forward, but I appreciated how quickly the story was unraveling and didn't mind the jump. Nicole and Irving have a flirty conversation until Miss Flattery rudely interrupts.
Oh, hold on a sec. Don't go anywhere, okay?
Huh? Oh, okay.
You have a good night too, Miss Flattery. Merry Christmas.
Good night, hon.
Nicole then opens up a bit until she's rudely interrupted
There
by
you have it.
wind chimes.
These are my memories, and, Hey, did you hear that?
No? What are you talking about?
Like a clinking.
No. I don't hear anything.
Sorry, I want to check.
In one of the creepier segments of the game, you have to use the cool rounded microphone to listen for and follow a static noise. Of course, there are a ton of other creepy sounds that you hear instead, but between that and the shiny microphone ball, this was a great chapter. I will say that Irving doesn't know when to shut the fuck up, though.
Please, shh, a sec.
Okay, maybe I crossed the line. Sorry, I'm a klutz sometimes, and...
Irving, please, shut the fuck up.
I ran around like a scared idiot until I realized the sound was coming from the floor below me. It eventually leads you to a closet behind the hotel's music stage. Nicole finds an old photo of a Christmas Eve party at the hotel. She reminisces about how beautiful her mom was and how big of a piece of shit her father was.
And your parents?
My mother had eyes only for Leonard. And I saw he wouldn't stop staring at that girl.
Rachel.
She talked and moved with the grace and confidence of an adult. She wore a dress with a bow on her back. She was so beautiful. Perfect. Fuck. Freaking nostalgia.
And then she abruptly gets sleepy.
Well, I can't hear that sound anymore. It's gone. I'm gonna look around again and then I'm going to bed.
Nicole somehow continues sleeping night after night when there is obviously someone in the hotel and a whole lot of weird shit going on, but I guess I shouldn't question other people's sleeping habits. And I mean, good for her for being able to sleep during such a scary time. I'm sure her body and mind needed it. She awakes in a creepy church as some sort of Wendigo beast smashes one of the windows, which is kind of rude, not gonna lie. For someone who hasn't stopped talking since she stepped foot into this hotel, Nicole initially chooses not to acknowledge that she woke up in a church with none of her inventory, or the, monster that is apparently outside. It's a pretty casual stroll back to the room. Easy peasy. I guess the shock eventually wears off because she does call Irving and absolutely loses it on him. In classic fashion, he misreads the situation and only makes things worse.
Irving?
Merry Christmas, Nikki! Ho, ho, ho! It's a little late for holiday greetings, but I expected that.
What?
Well, I thought you were calling to... Hey, is everything okay?
During this conversation, Nicole reveals that she used to sleepwalk as a child.
No.
Like the missing ghost hunters, this also goes nowhere.
I sleepwalked.
The day ends with some awkward flirting and a Christmas spent alone.
Oh, Irving?
Yeah?
I like that you call me Nikki. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Nikki.
The following day, Nicole decides to head back to the church, and she has another absolutely riveting conversation with Irving. While reminiscing of her mom, she recalls putting up Christmas decorations that for some reason her parents hid from her in a secret storeroom. By telling Irving this, she remembers a long-forgotten riddle that her father used to tell her that revealed where these hidden decorations were.
Sounds good.
The riddle!
What are you talking about?
Leonard was never good at keeping secrets, but he taught me a riddle to get there.
Can you remember it?
Incredible. Yes. Oh, something like, down the stairs, watch your step, don't fall apart or it's your end, round a corner, turn around, there's your way in front of you. All that's closed can be open too if you see beyond its looks. But how can I remember it?
Yes, that is how we find out where the secret room is. While exploring the church a bit, Nicole reveals the relationship between her mom and Rachel always made her kinda jealous. She finds a few sleeping bags of people who broke in, and she throws a fit. This also goes nowhere.
Someone broke into the church. Some fucking screwed up camper.
Oh, your father left it open for mountain wanderers.
Goddamn sons of... Ugh.
Whether you understand the riddle or not, it doesn't really matter because when you leave the church, a cute pink butterfly leads you to a plaque and flies through a wall, obviously indicating that's the way through.
Oh, shit.
Nicole clicks open the door and follows a dilapidated hallway until she reaches this creepy-ass, what the fuck? A secret basement room where the windows, bookshelves, and piano are all drawn on the walls with crayon, and a very mean word is written on the chalkboard. Irving conveniently calls at the exact moment you find the room, of course, and plays it down, as usual, because a hidden creepy dungeon is totally normal to FEMA members, apparently.
No decorations.
This section reveals one of the most egregious plot points. Nicole leaps to the conclusion that this is an exact replica of Rachel's room because everything in it reminds her of her. Super generic childhood things remind her of a girl she hasn't seen in years. Yeah, cool. She does find an empty retainer box that she thinks is Rachel's and becomes oddly suspicious of an air vent that, just listen to this.
I'm in front of an air vent. that could be connected to the top floor. Leonard had a grandfather clock up in the attic.
How the hell did she connect that? She also reveals that she was super creepy as a kid.
I used to lurk in front of vents like this to spy on guests in their rooms.
Her father gave Rachel speech therapy lessons in the attic, which is totally not weird at all since, there's not 50 plus rooms in this giant hotel. There's also a key on the shelf with a note that says breadcrumbs in like a typewriter text. What kind of typewriter takes post-it notes? Who writes like that? It was a little on the nose for me. Just leave a key on the desk. Of course, Nicole immediately recognizes it as the key to her childhood music box that sits in her father's bedroom.
No, I found a key. It's from my old music box, the one in Leonard's room.
I'm having a hard time following.
If everything in here is Rachel's, then why is my music box's key here?
Irving calls a number of times to try and talk Nicole out of doing whatever the hell she's doing, but she shuts his ass up.
I already know what you're gonna say, but please trust me. Get out of there.
Please, you're not helping.
You do realize you found the replica of the dead girl's bedroom. This is sick. This is
The more things get freaky, bizarre, and painful, the more I need to figure out why. Why all of this?
We'll figure it out with the sheriff.
Up until this point in the game, I was still on board. The story was all over the place, but something was unfolding, and I wanted to know how it was going to end. Was Rachel hiding in the creepy basement bedroom? What was beyond the closed wing of the hotel? Where are the ghost hunters? There were a number of unanswered questions that continued to give me some hope that the story was going somewhere. That was until the game gave me the first sign that things were about to take an unfortunate, irredeemable turn.
Think about it. That room could be an act of love. Distorted, even morbid, but in his eyes...
How dare you? My father might have had a lot of weaknesses, but surely what you're saying... Leave out that he cheated on my mom. Leave out that he fell in love with a 16-year-old, but fucking hell, don't you dare even think that! He would never have built a fucking underground shrine for a dead person.
Using the newly found key, Nicole opens her hockey player-themed music box, because when you think of music, you think of hockey. Inside the box is a medal she got as a teenager for winning a game of sudden death high school hockey.
The 27th of December, 1983. The hockey finals at Missoula. Us against Cold Springs High. We won by sudden death after a 3-hour game, and I got the medal for the most number of face-offs won. According to the papers, that was the night Rachel killed herself.
Getting a medal for winning the most face-offs during a game is not something that I have ever heard of, and I'm not sure why the developers decided to write in a hockey storyline if they've never played a game of hockey, but hey, let's move on. The music box recalls another suppressed memory brought up by a physical object. This time, it's the last argument Nicole's parents ever had, the one that broke them apart. She reveals that her mother never told her what that argument was about, which I thought was a little suspicious.
Mom never wanted to talk about it. Are you trying to, Daddy?
The game wastes no time and drops you directly in front of the closed wing of the hotel. Nicole begins to realize that her father has been leaving a trail of clues for her to fill in the true story of Rachel's death.
There are too many things that I took for granted. It's as if someone was putting pieces of my past in front of me to show them to me under another light.
In another reminiscent flashback, using her unparalleled mental gymnastics, Nicole jumps from winning the medal to having mass at the hotel to her mother telling her about the storage room behind the mezzanine lobby.
It all sounds insane.
The night Rachel died. Maybe I have to start from there. I played in that really long hockey game. But what was going on in the meantime? You remember that night, Irving?
I think I was at church with my family.
Church. That night we had a mass for the poor here. We held one every year. As usual, Mom volunteered to take me to the game, but she was so busy with the soup kitchen that I was afraid she was going to be late. I remember while she ran around, she said she ordered me to close the mezzanine.
Leaps and bounds, folks. leaps and bounds. Also, what is with these parents and hiding random-ass rooms from their kids? The boxes that were once blocking the not-so-secret entrance are now moved, and behind that door we have... mannequins holding hockey sticks over a pregnant mannequin. Nicole puts it together that Rachel didn't kill herself, but was actually murdered.
Irving? Hello? Can you hear me? I'm on the mezzanine, and it's a nightmare. There are mannequins everywhere. They're set up like in a scene. There's one with a hockey stick. Wait, what the fuck? That's my stick! If you're listening to me, whoever set up this representation, I think they want to tell me that Rachel was killed?
The music during this bit really heightened the creep factor, and I also thought the red light above the display was a nice touch. But thinking about someone setting this up, plugging the light in, dragging like 40 mannequins into this small room, sounds exhausting and kind of hilarious. I will say that the footstep sound effect here actually scared the shit out of me, and I had a hands-off keyboard moment while I choked a little bit. Irving again conveniently calls the moment Nicole steps out from the storage closet, but this time his tone is very different.
Where are you, Nicole?
Irving goes on about some psychobabble, ambiguous bullshit, and cuts the call.
How many doors have you opened, Nicole? How many are still missing?
I also happen to notice a wet set of boots in the lobby that I know were not there before, which was a small but absolutely gut-wrenching detail. It made the hair on the back of my arms stand and finally cemented the fact that we're not alone. Turning the corner and finding the once locked door open was a pretty good oh shit moment. Being able to finally walk down the hall after only seeing it through the locked door really felt satisfying, and I was hella creeped out. At the end of the hall, you find a door that reveals what you probably already expect.
Hello?
I imagine you found my room.
What? What does all this mean?
That's a question I've asked myself many times. What does all this mean, Irving? How far do you want to push yourself? How much can you take?
What?
Every memory. Painstakingly gathered, every reconstructed piece, every little element retrieved from the dark. A photo, a hairband, a lipstick. It means remembering, Rachel. That's what all this means.
The now creepy Irving reveals that he's been staying in the hotel the whole time and talks about himself in third person. He was never with FEMA, and he was responsible for all the weird shit going on. This just didn't make sense to me. Am I supposed to believe that Irving has been banging random shit around the hotel, smashing church windows, setting up sleeping bags in the church, killing the power, making spooky wind chime noises, setting up like 40 mannequins? Did he fake the entire Ghost Hunters plot? Who are those people? Come on. I continue to drift away from the fleeting thought that the game might have a worthwhile payoff, but I kept playing. Irving finally confirms his supervillain status by revealing the truth, while like circus music plays, I think.
Who are you, really?
I want to tell you a story. There was an invisible boy. Like everyone, he just wanted to run on the grass, ride a bike, swim in the lake in summer. His father had other plans for his soul. In his dark world made of silence and prayer, there shone only one star. His wonderful sister. A heavenly creature that spent hours telling him fairy tales in secret. She who told him what a free and strong man he would become one day.
Rachel?
She was like that. Free and strong.
He reveals that he's Rachel's brother, and Nicole somehow forgot about him. And he set this whole elaborate thing up instead of, like, sending a text or email.
One day, that beautiful, luminous creature met someone. A human being that saw her for real.
My dad.
Yes. And I was the invisible witness of what happened. A love. Simply a love. Nothing more, nothing less.
Nicole follows the hallway to her father's attic, which is actually kind of cozy. She plays a projector in the room that is a slideshow of old photos and a recording from her father.
A few years have passed since I last used this old tape recorder. I think you were in elementary school. I imagine a testament should start in a poised manner. My dear Nicole, my favorite daughter, etc., etc. Poised, weighty, serious, irrevocable. I prefer asking you how you are. How are you, Nikki? You're probably tired. I can imagine. At this point of your journey, the marks and voices of this old hotel will have already whispered all their secrets. You've always been good at solving puzzles. In this, you surely resemble more your mother than me. Irving has always been convinced that you, only you, could surmount the fear and suffering that exuded from these hallways. We tried. We waited. We were terrified.
There were only a handful of photos, and they quickly began repeating, which seemed kind of odd. They really couldn't sepia filter a few more photos or make them change less frequently. This scene follows the game's trend of having more dialogue than actual playable content.
I have a new theory, Nikki. Love is and remains. It is in the wood you stand on, in the walls that keep up this hotel,
Who are you
in the
talking
air
about?
we breathe.
Her father goes on to try and justify his relationship with a teenager. Am I supposed to be empathizing with this guy? Because it kind of feels like the game wants me to, which is weird. At the end of his stupid speech, he drops a pretty good line, and then all the shit hits the fan.
Figure out what Rachel is saying, Nikki. She's here.
So the ghost in the hotel is Rachel, I think. Nicole finds her mother's car keys in the attic for some reason and heads towards the garage. The race from the attic to the garage is probably where the game peaked gameplay-wise, but at this point the story had put me off so much that I was starting to feel detached from the game. To piss me off even further, Irving calls and continues to try and justify their relationship.
Hello?
Leonard was a very special man. His soul was big enough to love both you and Rachel.
I knew my father's soul better than anyone.
You were just a jealous kid.
Like, this guy sexually assaulted your sister. I don't get it. I don't know. This conversation goes on for so long that I stood in the garage and just waited and waited to unlock my mom's car. So this is what we've been leading up to, the big reveal. Nicole unlocks her mother's car and finds a... Wait, what was that? A shirt? A blanket? She takes it from the boot of the car so quickly that you don't even get a good look at what it is. And for some reason, her first instinct is to do a load of laundry, which reveals the last big twist. Nicole finds Rachel's retainer in the bloody blanket, and, once again, suddenly remembers everything. Buckle in, because this story is, pretty good.
I saw everything. I was there. All the pieces were in front of my eyes.
A kid's eyes.
It was the same night as the hockey game in Missoula. Reverend Foster was so busy with the preparations of the meals for the giving to the poor at the Timberline Church. And my mother, Claire, said that we would get back from the game in time for the distribution. She convinced my father to help the Reverend, and he'd come with his whole family. You and Rachel.
Yeah. I remember it like it was yesterday.
I couldn't find my stick. I panicked and I went down to the garage. Claire was there, red in the face. Her look.
Her look?
It was just a fleeting feeling. That's why I erased it from my memory. I had to erase it, understand?
What was in her look?
It just wasn't her. It was like a frightful creature.
Before her award-winning hockey game, she couldn't find her stick. After looking around for a little while, she found her mother with it in the garage. Her mom gives her back her stick, lets her know that she cleaned it for her, and Nicole goes on to play the best game of her life. Her mother killed Rachel with her own hockey stick.
I traveled all the way with Rachel's body and the baby she carried inside of her in the trunk, rolled in the blanket. God, oh my God.
The whole family drove home with Rachel's body in the trunk, and Nicole's mother snuck out and dumped the body off a nearby cliff. Irving, finally knowing the truth about what happened to his sister, reveals that he's walking through the snow, ready to freeze to death.
It's beautiful here. Rachel told me about it so many times, but I never thought it was so beautiful.
Kind of a slow, painful way to go, if you ask me, but also
Where
fuck
are
that
you?
guy. For some reason, Nicole tries talking him out of it, but he doesn't take her advice.
It's too cold. You'll die out there. Irving, please.
I've lived in the dark for years. You freed me. And now I can finally rest in the light. I can go back to her.
Don't go. You can't. Don't leave me, too. We have our drink.
It's not a goodbye, my tough, pragmatic, stubborn Nikki. We'll meet again. Another time. Beyond this horizon of events. Everything is...
I guess it was easier to elaborately coax Nicole into figuring things out rather than just him finding the clues for himself while he was already living in the hotel.
Stay alone here. Everything seems to be becoming dark. I'm scared. Who's there? Rachel? Is that you?
And then there is this incredibly uplifting ending.
Yes?
Nicole, it's me, Jenkins, the attorney. Finally, I can get through. You don't know how many times I've tried. I can't hear you. The connection's bad. How are you? I was really worried about the storm.
I'm good.
Great. I'm glad. You're sure you...
Listen, I don't want to sell the hotel anymore.
What? Damned interference. I didn't catch you. What'd you say?
I don't want to sell the hotel anymore. You've been really nice. Your job is done. Thanks.
Oh, well, I see. Well, you're the owner, and you got every right to decide. But maybe we should talk about it in person. I want to understand. This kind of decision...
I'm back home, and I have to stay here. Forever.
Wait a sec, let's talk. And there's also my fee.
You know, Mom, I was thinking about going to the lake. Remember where we went with Uncle John last year? Daddy and I started talking about the stars. You can't see them during the day, but they're always there. You feel like it? I would so like it. And we can have dinner at Doc Smith's diner on the bank. Rachel and Irving could come with us? What do you think? It would be so nice to be all together. Mom, Dad, it would be so nice.
The game prompted me here to put the car in gear and obviously kill myself in some sort of stupid suicide pact with a dumb idiot who's been screwing with me for days. So as a contrarian, I waited to see what would happen if I didn't do anything, and to my surprise it did.
I'll stay here with you, Daddy. Mom, we will bring back the Timberline to its fortune, together. We'll be happy again, all together. Yes. Like a whole family. No more anger.
I think I should have killed her though, because she apparently has gone insane within the last minute or two and wants to live in the hotel, happily ever after, instead of, going to the police and giving some humanity back to Rachel and her family, or getting any justice for the player who just sat through 3 hours of a gorgeous, beautiful sounding turd. It could have been a glitch on my end, but the game ended before Nicole could deliver the last line of dialogue in the game.
Like a whole family. No more anger.
That seems significant when it's the game's last chance to drop a line that will leave a lasting impression. So that's the game. I know, right? What the hell? Irving brought Nicole to the hotel on behalf of her father to reveal that her father and Rachel's love was too legit to quit, and that Nicole's mother actually killed Rachel because she was jealous. This grown-ass woman killed a teenaged girl because she was banging her man? How about kill the pedophile piece of shit, lady? Leonard groomed Rachel, and this dumbass blamed the literal child? I'm guessing Leonard and Irving also had something going on, because I can't fathom as to why Irving would defend this old piece of shit's relationship with his own damn sister. God damn it, this game pissed me off. They served us the most juicy steak in the world with this game, only for it to have maggots inside when you cut it. It's so graphically polished, the voice acting is excellent, and it is some of the creepiest atmosphere in a game that I have ever played, and they decided to go with this kind of storyline? I feel bad for the people that worked on any part of this game besides the story. You all did a great job. I loved so much in this game. The shining bathrooms, the shining day change, the random creaks and bangs, the hilarious labeling of certain things. They absolutely nailed the feeling of isolation, and the way the game continuously built up tension was expertly executed. It was like a tension lasagna that just kept getting more and more layers until the big old pedophilia reveal dumped it into a used toilet. The tools provided were unique when compared to other games. Most games would have you hold a flashlight with near infinite battery, but this game had us use an emergency flashlight that only lasted a second or two. And instead of having the usual EMF reader, it gave us this big old gum bubble that beautifully reflected the hotel lighting. Flashing the Polaroid in the dark was nothing original, but it built heavy tension. Obviously, I love these different items in the game, which made it all the more painful that they were totally wasted. The game prompted you to use each one for maybe a few minutes, and that was it. The Polaroid led straight to the flashlight, the microphone was useless after finding where that one sound came from. It was all pretty disappointing. I was aching to use these tools more. Give me the fear that these tools easily offered. Listening to heightened audio was fucking terrifying, and a pitch black room only lit by a flashbulb is jump scares 101. They had an arsenal of potential standout moments that just simply didn't exist. After all is said and done, I'm left with many unanswered questions. what was going on with the child's bedroom in the basement? Rachel is dead, we know that, so who was staying down there? Was the game trying to convince me that Nicole's mother is the real villain over a grown-ass man assaulting a teenager? I don't even know if I'm glad that I played this game. I loved so much about it, but I hated it so much at the same time. Is this a sort of situation where you eat an entire tub of ice cream to your face, knowing that you'll be shitting your pants the entire next day? Is it worth it? I don't know. This video hopefully offered enough for you to make your own choice here. If you're looking for a game with an incredible setting and a dog shit story, this might be for you. I don't know. I think it's $2 right now, so you can buy it if you want.